The first day of the NBA play-in is finally under wraps, and we've only got more playoff basketball to go, so it's pretty late. It's about 11 p.m., but I want to sit down and talk a little bit about the games we saw today. Mostly I want to talk about the Celtics and the Wizards, but I'll go ahead and talk about the PacersHornets first, just a little bit. That game was a blowout. From the beginning, it was clear that the Pacers were dominating and the Hornets were not. Doug McDermott was crazy. He hit his first 4 threes, could not miss to begin the game, and then kind of leveled off towards the end, but they didn't need him. They were already winning by 30. All they had to do was sustain that lead. Nobody on the Hornets stepped up in any sort of way. Terry Rozier he did not have enough to put them in the game. LaMelo was pretty disappointing. He couldn't do anything offensively, honestly. Could not score the ball whatsoever. Miles Bridges tried his best, but nothing was working. Cody Zeller was their high scorer. That tells you enough. This team was not worthy of making the playoffs anyway, so I did not finish that game just because it was such a blowout, and I went out to eat. But other than that, what I saw was a lot of good playmaking by the Pacers, and the Hornets just outmatched. All right, next game I want to talk about is the Celtics versus the Wizards. This game was good to begin. I mean, it was a decent game overall, but towards the end it fell out of reach for the Wizards. But Celtics and Wizards, it was a game all the way up until halftime. It was close. It was like 58-56 or something. I was entertained. Tatum was doing his thing. Kemba was playing pretty well. Russ wasn't, and neither was Bradley Beal. So that was a little weird to see, especially to see that the game was tied and neither of them could get anything going. But at the end of the day, Tatum scored 50, pulled away. First thing I want to talk about was just the Celtics. They were great, I think, especially missing Jaylen Brown. I was very impressed, especially also after losing Robert Williams, who was a pretty key piece to this team defensively. He's a center. He has to be the anchor of the team defensively. Plus, he's pretty big on those pick and rolls with Kemba and Tatum. So I was a little bit concerned with how they might play, losing one of their most important pieces, but I thought they pieced everything together fine. Marcus Smart was great, I think. I mean, he did Marcus Smart things. He made the right play, gave them energy, and overall was just playing really well. I mean, he didn't shoot crazy. He only had 7 points, but he had 6 assists, which led the team, and, he was their point guard, and I think he gave them enough energy to pull this off. Obviously, Jason Tatum is the reason that the Celtics won this game. Without Tatum, I don't know what the Celtics even are. I don't think they're even close to a playoff team. But Tatum had 50, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. He was getting it done. It was almost like nobody could guard him. But this is where I want to transition into talking about what the Wizards did and why I think Scott Brooks is one of the worst coaches in the NBA. This is a very important game for the Wizards, especially seeing that the Pacers just had a great game against the Hornets and have all the confidence in the world. Now they have to play them. But Scott Brooks was not good this game, and that's saying a lot because he's their coach. Yes, Beal couldn't get anything together. He only scored 22 points. Russ couldn't get anything together either. He only had 20 points as well. I mean, that's decent, but it's not enough to carry you when nobody else on your team besides Ish Smith and Daniel Gafford have more than 10. But Scott Brooks, the first thing that I want to talk about, his rotations were horrendous. Like for Rui Hachimura, probably, if not their best, one of their best defenders, was on the court for 8 minutes by the middle of the third quarter. He played 16 minutes in total. That is horrible. When he was on the court, you could tell there was an impact he made. Towards the end of the game, they even put him on Tatum for a little bit, and, Tatum was hitting his shots, and it wasn't like he locked him down, but I thought Rui did a much better job guarding Tatum than anybody else on the Wizards even came close to doing. You're not going to be able to lock him down unless you have a Ben Simmons type guy, and even then, I don't think Ben Simmons could have done too much to stop Tatum. Tatum was on one tonight. He really was. Other than that, Scott Brooks, just the way he was running this team was so wonky. I didn't see any sort of fluidity. He was kind of just letting Russ do whatever Russ wanted to do, which was shoot, pull up mid-range shots. I thought it was pretty poor basketball over, what is supposed to be a very important game. You know what I mean? Russ could not have hit a 3 all game. Nothing was going the direction it needed to for these teams, and overall, Tatum drug this Celtics team to a win. I was also very impressed with Kemba Walker, I have to say. He was hitting big shots. The game got, it was like a 15-point game with like 5 minutes left. The Wizards had just scored like 2 back-to-back buckets. They went on like a 4.6-point run. It looked like they were going to maybe string something together, and then Kemba just shuts them up with the 3. He was hitting his shots. He had 30 points. He was a big reason why this team was even in the game in the first place, next to Tatum. There's not much the Wizards could do about Tatum, but they could have made this much more of a game than they did. I thought they did a poor job handling, how to guard Tatum. Tatum was on a different level tonight, but the way they tried to defend him was so backwards. They just kind of like let him, like they had Bradley Beal on him multiple possessions. You don't want that. I get that they got the switch, but at that point you double team him or something and foul him, even if you're not especially if you're not in the bonus to begin a possession. It was almost guaranteed points. I thought it was pathetic defense on Tatum, and even then Tatum, if you play great defense on him, he's probably still dropping 35, 40. But that brings it within a 3-point game, Like, come on. They should have done a better job on that, and I think Rui could have solved a lot of their problems. Scott Brooks decided, you don't get to play, you're a second-year player. Oh, you don't get to play. I really do not like Scott Brooks as a coach, and I don't think he should be their coach for much longer, especially if they're in a win-now mentality. They've got 2 all-star players in Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal, so why not build around that? They don't need to rebuild again. Get rid of this coach they have. Find somebody who can get you wins now, and this is going to be a good team. But until they do that, I don't see the Wizards doing anything. They need to improve coaching-wise, plus they need to add some more playmaking and some more scoring. They have no bench. You want to talk about the Celtics having no bench? The Wizards had nobody. Daniel Gafford off the bench was their best player. He's probably their best center. Alex Len he's horrible. He played 12 minutes. Robin Lopez is horrifically bad. Daniel Gafford at least gives them a big body, but even then, you want somebody better than Daniel Gafford as your best center on the team, With that said, this game was kind of entertaining. I enjoyed it to some degree, but I want to see a little bit more out of tomorrow's game in the Warriors versus the Lakers. That is the game that I think most people are waiting for. So, until then, thank you so much for watching. I will be doing a play-in review game of those as well, a reaction video, whatever you want to call it. But until we get to that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.